Hello all, and welcome to another episode of Hidden Gems with me, Natasha Parker. This is a solo episode, and we're going to keep this one short, sweet, and cute. I feel like my whole purpose is to help, something will happen to me, I'll dissect it, I'll think about it, I'll mull it over, and then I'll figure it out. And then when I figure it out, I'll be like, oh, now I can help someone else that's going through this or that has went through this. So I am like an over-analyzer, deep thinker, which I always talk about the doer versus the thinker. And when you just accept that you're a thinker, you start doing a lot more shit. And that's what I did. So I want to talk to you guys about thinking versus intuition, but also the fact that we can't always trust all of our thoughts. And you can't always do what you think because we have so many thoughts in a day. And I have talked about this before. And what drafted all of this was my sister sent me a poem that she said that her pastor references a lot. And I said, oh, that's a gem. It's a big, big, beautiful gem. And we got to talk about that on Hidden Gems because I think it just embodies so much of what people go through and how we have a choice. And that is what this podcast and Hidden Gems is all about, is when we are in a place of stuck, no matter how we got there, choosing to stay there or choosing to claw our way out. So here is the poem. Two natures beat within my breast. The one is foul, the one is blessed. The one I love, the one I hate. The one I feed will dominate. I'm going to read that one more time. Two natures beat within my breast. The one is foul, the one is blessed. The one I love, the one I hate. The one I feed will dominate. So, in essence, that's talking about, we can look at things from two different sides, at least two different sides, all the time. That's number one. Number two, when we decide to actually do something, where are we doing it from? Are we doing it from a place of love? Are we doing it from a place of hate? Are we doing it from a place of fear? Are we doing it from a place of jealousy? Are we doing it from a place of superiority? Are we doing it from a place of lack? What are our motivations for whatever it is we want to do? There's a lot of things in society that tell us we should be doing certain things, like women who are single should be married. And there are people, because society says so, if you are not married, you are, I don't know, whatever people say, unlovable, can't be in a relationship, whatever people say, when you go on a date and someone's like, oh, why are you single? It must be you. All these different things that are put out into the world. And it's like, well, I know a lot of people that are married and that are in relationships that are very unhappy. They're not actually happy. I do know some very successful, beautiful relationships as well. And I love that I get to, be a part of their life and see their love bloom. But wanting to cohabitate or be with someone as like a stamp of approval, because society says that you should, where is that coming from? And wanting a partnership because you want to grow a life together. What does that look like? That looks like compromise. That looks like knowing maybe who you are and meeting someone and getting to know who they are and recognizing we're two different people, but how do we coexist and make both of our lives better? When we get into those mindsets, some people, especially busy people, it's like, check this box, check this box, check this box. It's all about box checking instead of what we feel. So when I say you can't always do what you think, it's because we have to ask ourselves those questions. Am I doing that? Am I thinking this or thinking that I want this from a place of lack or a place of love, and that's basically, that's what they say in the poem. And then the one I feed. So they always say the grass is always greener. The grass is green where you water it. And I totally agree with that. So if you're at a point in your life and you are feeling stuck or you're feeling like you need to pivot, when you really look at your day and what is it that I do every single day? Am I going towards this goal? Oh, I need a job. Am I spending and utilizing, out of the 24 hours in the day, am I spending most of that time actually looking for a job? Am I actually putting effort and energy into that? And even if you aren't actually physically applying to a job, no one's saying, you got to apply to every single job and just be, sending your resume out like click, 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 click. But am I cultivating conversations with people? Am I trying to, send messages to people on LinkedIn and be like, hey, saw that you work here. I'd love to know more about your job and take you to coffee even. It's not just like, hey, you don't know me, give me a job, right? There's so many things that we can do to put energy around something that we want and something that we want to draw into our life or something that we want to go out and get. And what we feed, where we water is what grows. And I've realized for so long in my life, I always watered my money tree. I'll say that. Meaning I was so focused on work. I was so focused on making money. I was so focused on that being the essential part of my life that I did not water my love tree. And being stuck in relationships with people that did not love me in the way that I know I could have been or that I deserved, and just staying because my mindset back then was always like, it'll do. I'm relatively physically safe, so it'll do, right? I like the way this person looks, so it'll do. This person takes care of me and knows how to make a plan, it'll do. But then it gets deeper and deeper, and it's like, does this person see me? Does this person see me as a partner? Does this person see me as like a sex toy or whatever? All these different things started to matter when I really started to water the person who I am inside of myself. So when I go back to the poem and I think about what you feed, we can feed the jealousy that's inside of us. We can feed all these different things that don't necessarily grow us. And just because we have a thought about something doesn't mean that it's accurate, that it's true, that it should have an impact on us. I started this podcast too because if you look up the suicide rates in America and how much they've skyrocketed and how much it affects young people, it's really sad. It's super depressing. And because of social media and the highlight reel that a lot of people see, we can get stuck and think, oh, well, this person has this, and compare ourselves to people and think, oh, this person has this person has that. Like, that's not me. I won't have that. I can't do this. I can't do that. But I look at something like suicide, and it's a thought that people get in a moment. And they act on it, obviously, in that moment. And after that moment is over, obviously they're no longer here. But I think to myself, if only they had went to sleep and then they woke up, would they still feel the same way? And I have had moments in my life where I battled with depression, not necessarily suicidal, but where I thought, oh, the world is ending. The world is over. Like if I got hit by a bus today, oh well, not necessarily saying that I wanted to hurt myself, but it was just like, you don't, because you're so stuck in your head of what you think and what can't get undone. And then sometimes I'll wake up and I'll be like, I can't believe I cried all night and I was so sad. I'm fine today. And I think, and I mean, that's not funny, but I'll think to myself, it makes me sad because I think that, I'm kind of, I wasn't going to do anything to myself. But then when I think about people who have harmed themselves, it's like this thing where they're sad or depressed or in this loop in their brain of how they're feeling, and they act on it. So knowing that we can't trust all those thoughts and the idea of being impulsive, that's something also that I've had to learn, because something will happen and I'll jump off real quick. Like, and I have really had to learn how to stop, take a second, get off the phone. Hey, this is not making me happy right now. I'm getting a lot of feelings. I'm feeling a lot of things that are not putting me in a positive mindset. And I can recognize that. And before I get to that super negative place, I get off the phone, or I go for a walk, or I do something, or I try to do something that's in my toolbox that, I'll put on a happy song, something that's in my toolbox that'll kind of push me towards that place of, oh no, girl, it's okay. Or think about it, don't think about it, go back to it later when you've calmed down. And that's just such a big gem that's helped me so much in my life, is that taking a step back and trying to exercise gratitude for even in like the icky moments. And if there's one thing a day you can write down in a journal of what you're grateful for, it's crazy how much it helps. Just wake up in the morning. I am grateful for this. And it could be the smallest little thing. A lot of times that thing is Nyla, my dog. I'm like, I'm grateful for her. If I can't be grateful for anything, I'm grateful for her, but that's just me. But it's just like telling ourselves and having a ritual to train our mind to wake up grateful and or go to sleep grateful, because our subconscious is always speaking to us and always talking to us. My last guy, it was so funny. It was like my last guy that I was seeing, we were in bed and like in the middle of the night, he's like talking in his sleep. And I'm like, but not anything crazy, it wasn't like he was like Jolene, like it wasn't like he was speaking to another woman or anything like that, but he was just speaking. So when he woke up, and it was like a few times, when he woke up, I was like, oh, you were talking in your sleep last night. Do you remember what your dream was? And he was like, oh no, I have no idea what it was. And to expand on that, it's like, if we believe in our conscious mind, which is like what's happening right now, what you're listening to right now at this moment, and there's a whole subconscious happening, because people talk in their sleep, they walk in their sleep, things, and we are not conscious, obviously, because we're asleep. Our consciousness is asleep at the time, but there's something going on, like kind of at all times, subconsciously. So as I'm sitting here talking to you, there's something subconsciously happening in my head and in my brain that I'm not tapped into yet, or I'm not tapped into consciously, but my subconscious is. So in order to feed that subconscious, we have to switch gears and tell ourselves and have that self-talk and speak to our subconscious. There's a lot of times where I go to sleep with music on, and I prefer music without words because I feel like it's like speaking to me as I'm sleeping. I do like classical piano. If you follow the show's Instagram, Mateo is a composer who, like, my favorite composer. He's amazing. And a lot of the videos we use his music kind of in the background because I just love him. I think he's great. And so I'll listen to like piano or like, some sort of classical music kind of just like in the background. And it's so peaceful for me. And I most days I wake up in a very peaceful state, but I like to journal in the morning versus at night. But if I am having an anxiety driven night and I'm just like, what do? I just don't know what to do and my head is kind of spinning, I will sit down and journal and just kind of write everything out and bring it back to gratitude. And the way that we kind of default back to the positive is talking to ourselves and having that self-talk. And again, saying what we're grateful for and feeding that part. So to go back to the one I feed will dominate. So if you feed gratitude into your life, or you feed positivity into your life, and I really try to do that. Listen, some days I'm not positive. Some days something will happen and I'm like, this sucks. And I'm so negative and mad about it. But on those days, it's not the full day. I shouldn't say that there's days, because it's not the full day. There's moments of negativity, obviously. But if a day is 100%, 80% of the day, your girl is positive. She's happy, she's good, she's grateful. And because it became a practice, something that I decided to feed, those natures in yourself. You know, we're surrounded by BS bullshit happening all the time. Again, it's our choice to feed into it or not. So as you guys listen to this and you think about what's dominating your life, whatever's dominating your life, somehow, either consciously or subconsciously, we're feeding that part of our life. And if it's not the positive part, or if it's not a productive part of our life, then we got to change some things around. I know for me, there's times when I'm like a crazy social butterfly. I know a lot of people. I'm out, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. We're going here, we're going there. I'm drinking, I'm hanging, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll be like, no, I woke up at 10 o'clock today. I don't like that. I can't do that all the time. I'm a 7 a.m. girly. I love waking up at 7 a.m. So then I'll have to switch back and go, okay, no, we're going to wake up. We're going to go to the gym. We're going to do this. So I kind of try to always do this balance of like, I'll be very much a social butterfly, but then the social butterfly comes in the house and she flutters around the house. She's not going out. And I'll tell my friends, hey, boo, come over, come do this, come do that, whatever. I'm at home, I'm chilling. Like, that's what I need. I need to come back in. And I know that about myself. So having that type of balance, that doesn't mean that, and some people like to be messy. They love being messy. For whatever reason, it feeds them. And I'm not going to lie, I love to look at a mess. I don't like when the mess is in my backyard, not going to lie. But sometimes a mess is entertaining. Hence why we love reality TV. It's entertaining. But we have to have some sort of practice or value system for us to like, once it's over, it's over. And we're not taking that into other parts of our life, if that makes sense. So as women, we talk about femininity. We talk about feeling and intuition. My episode with Jenny Minen, she talked about how your intuition is soft, it's calm, it tells you something very, very specific, and how our anxiety is loud. What's going on? What do you mean? What's happening? Where is he? What's going? It's so much more intense. And feeling and know the difference of the two. When they say no one's perfect, it's very true, because there's not one person walking the earth that hasn't felt extreme sadness, madness, jealousy, revenge, blah, blah, blah. We're humans. It's a part of the human experience for things to happen and for us to think in a negative way. But at the same time, there's no one walking the earth that hasn't felt that beautiful lightness, positivity, love. I mean, I don't know anyone who can look at a newborn baby. I'm sure there's people out there, but I don't know them who can't look at a newborn baby and just see a whole entire beautiful world. And then, yeah, there's morbid people who are like, oh my God, I don't want to bring a baby into this world. And those are usually the people who are like, would be great parents because of the perspective that they have about the realistic aspects of the world. That's just my opinion, agree to disagree. But we're always evolving as humans, and the world is always changing and evolving. And where we decide to put our energy, what we listen to. Thank you for listening to Hidden Gems podcast with me. But what we listen to, what we consume, what we watch, what we see, what we hear, all of those things are telling our subconscious something. So what are we feeding? What's dominating? What's dominating my life? What are we feeding? It's so deep and so big. And also at the top of the poem, it says, 2 natures beat within my breast. One is foul, one is blessed. Natures, because it's innate. I could say, oh, I would never kill someone. I would never do that. That's why they say never say never. If someone was trying to kill me and I killed them first, you know what I mean? Like, it was self-defense, but that's what just happened. Sorry to go so morbid and get so crazy there, but it's true. Taking, someone coming after your child, what mode do you go into, right? Because it's nature. So I'm saying that because we have to feel and accept all these different parts of us. And when we start to accept all these different parts of us, yeah, if you try to come for me or someone I love, I might try to tear your head off. I'm not actually kill you, but you know what I mean? Might try to tear your hair off because that's in me. I feel that so fiercely because I want to protect myself and my people. And that's a part of me. And I accept that about myself, but that's also why I try very hard to put myself in spaces and places with people who love me and care about me, and not put myself in places and spaces where I'm like, I always have to be on the defense, or people are being rude or mean, or, just whack people around. We want the vibes. We don't want that. So when I feel that someone's whack, bye. We don't need that. And it's important to have that wherewithal. So I love giving you guys physical gems, and my physical gem is a book called Sacred Contracts by Caroline Myss. I might have talked about this before, I don't know, but it's a big gem in my life, and it all talks about how life is by design, and there is a path that we're supposed to be on in this design. And she really breaks down, we could be really upset that we missed a flight. We're mad about it. But we don't know that when we landed, that the Uber that we were supposed to get in at that time got into a car accident and, something else happened. Like, we don't know why things are happening. But if we're working towards our goal of what we're supposed to be bringing into the world, you have to trust that I missed that flight because I was supposed to miss that flight. I wasn't supposed to be on that flight. And actually, I had a whole situation happen where I met a shaman on a flight. I had to change my flight, and I was like, I upgraded to business on this flight, but I was going to Paris for work. And when I went to Paris for work, it was going with a brand, DSW. We love DSW. I had all these shoes that were supposed to come, and half of them didn't arrive. So I had to physically go, and I had my day like planned out. Travel days are very stressful for me because I'm always like, God, did I pack this? Did I do this? Da-da-da. Especially when it's like a long trip, and it was a long trip, and I had to like have look on look and this and that. So it was stressful. So I had every moment of the day planned out until I had to get on my flight. But I had this monkey wrench. The monkey wrench was half the shoes didn't arrive. You got to go to DSW and go pick out like 10 pairs of shoes. Oh my God, right? So I go there, it's busy, it's this, that. It basically took 2 hours out of the day. So now I'm way behind with everything that I have to do. Then I get home and I'm like, damn, I got to change my flight. My flight was like at 7. I had to change it to 10, something like that at night, like a night flight. And I didn't get upgraded on the night flight because obviously everyone wants to take a night flight to Europe because, you can lean back, you can lie flat. But I get the exit row seat in like the main thing. And I'm not like a plain snob at all. I will economy my life up, okay? As long as I'm getting there, I don't care. But I'm saying that to say, obviously, I wanted my life flat because who doesn't want their upgrade? Now, I get the exit row seat and I'm sitting and I go, put my bag up and there's this man that's sitting there and he just looks interesting. Like, this is an interesting person. It's a night flight. Everyone's falling asleep. I'm so looking forward to my sleep because I didn't sleep a lot the night before. Great. We start talking. I don't know if he started talking to me first or me, him. I don't know. But this man is a shaman. And I'm like, whoa. I do believe in plant medicine. And I have not taken ayahuasca as this podcast is being recorded. I have not taken it yet. And they always say that you don't have to force ayahuasca into your life. It will find you. And I'm like, okay. And when I sat next to him, he told me, oh, I was supposed to be on the flight before this. And I was supposed to be in business class, but I had to change my flight. And I'm like, me too. So I felt like I was meant to sit by this guy. Not saying that, it was meant for the package to be late, for me to go to DSW, whatever the fact, I was supposed to be on this flight. Me and this man are still friends to this day. I hope to have him on Hidden Gems one day because his book is a gem. He wrote a book called The Corazon that is amazing and that I have read through and through. And we have remained friends. We have really deep, long conversations about life and his perspective and the things that he's seen and done and how he moved to the Amazon and he's lived in New York and worked in, we'll have him on the show and talk about his story. But he now administers ayahuasca to different people and the transformation in the life that things have happened to people from taking the plant medicine. I know that when I now do ayahuasca, this is going to be the person that does it. This is the person who's going to help me and lead me through my journey. And just like they said, it finds you. I wasn't afraid to do it. I was just like, yeah, I just don't really feel called to do it. I do really deep, intense meditations where I can do all this stuff in my meditation. I don't think I really need plant medicine. But after having one conversation with him over a 6-hour flight, 5-hour flight, I'm convinced. I'm like, oh yeah, it's in this lifetime, I must take this step, take this leap. And I hope that I have him on the podcast one day because that's going to be a whole great podcast all about plant medicine and ayahuasca and the differences between that. But I was supposed to meet that person that day. And although I was so pissed that now I had to change my flight and do this and do that, I think about Caroline's book a lot when I am delayed or when I feel like something isn't happening when it's supposed to. I think about her book a lot and I'm like, oh, this is what Caroline was talking about. So Sacred Contracts, I highly recommend it if you're like, yeah, what's happening right now? What's happening in my life? Because she really puts things into perspective. So check that out. I hope you guys think about what's dominating your life and how you're feeding it or not. And what you are feeding into your life and what you should be feeding into your life if it's not the right thing. So I'll leave you with that. Please message me your comments, DM me, email, all that good stuff of what you guys think. And I hope you hear this and feel a little lighter, a little happier. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks for listening to Hidden Gems with me, your host, Natasha Parker. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It really helps grow our budding community. Follow me on IG at Natasha Parker and the show at Gems with Natasha. Hidden Gems with Natasha Parker is produced by Gotham Production Studios.